Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Jen,
Hello.
Tier,
What up?
Adam,
Salve.
Traveling Exhibit, Angela,
Hi.
and as it is once again a Friday, but not the first Friday of a month, and I didn't have anything family-wise pop up, I'm the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are all of you doing tonight?
I'm great.
Well,
I'm good.
to hear.
Doing all right.
Doing good.
That's good to hear. And I'm doing grand.
Evil.
Oh yeah, I should have asked. So, what type of good are you doing, Adam? Are you donating to charity? Are you helping the less fortunate? What sort of good?
All of the above.
Okay, as long as you are actually doing good. Are you also doing well, though?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame. You should do evil.
You should do well while doing good. Sometimes, if the situation warrants it, do a little bit of evil.
I mean, the only problem I have with, not doing well is I have a real issue with digging holes. And so.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, though. It is important to keep hydrated.
Are you trying to get to China?
Well, have we?
You just say get to China? No. We
Have
have
we gathered
trade
enough-
wars with them. Why would I dig to China?
Have we gathered enough men on a beach at the same time?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's possible.
Because that's the way that you dig a hole of that depth.
No, but you know how you dig a hole of that depth? You get a lot of Amish. Let them go.
Yo, honestly, okay, no. After the whole stuff with North Carolina, and seeing the Amish go to work, dude, all the jokes aside, these people are fucking badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. The way that they throw up buildings, oh god.
Dude, they construct them at a high rate, and fucking, it's done right. It's fucking crazy.
It's done by 20 people named Malachi.
Well, but the only thing
no, Malachi and Ezekiel.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit there. It's like
occasionally you'll get a Jebediah.
Well,
I like Cousin Jeb.
Dude, as long as they're giving you a good, product, why not?
Their woodworking is top tier. They're fantastic when it comes to throwing together anything made of wood.
Dude, superior tier. I will not admonish the Amish.
Yeah.
I have another.
No, it was superior.
I have another method.
The Amish are you're the bottom of the Amish then.
Oh,
that sucks.
Sanguine, I have another method of making holes. If you're willing to share a quick video.
Wait, what? Okay. Whoa, wait, what? Nikki Holes?
Making holes, I believe.
Making holes. Yeah. There's another easier way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
You don't need to apply 100 men to dig a hole. You could just get one fetish.
Why, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are watching a scenario of Operation Hammer Drop.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And the bunker bomb hit it smart.
What it should have done?
No!
That's not AI.
That's absolutely AI.
What it should have done was that it just all sucks into she drops into the water and then she just keeps burrowing down.
Don't you understand that that was the 6th level of water pool, and her dive immediately punctured a hole in the ceiling, because that's what happened.
No, Adam. What happened was she hit the water and And at that moment, the planet decided to go nope and self-exterminate us.
Oh, wait, no. She did that, and all of a sudden, it was the exact same time that weird fireball came down in, like, South Carolina or some shit like that. Did you guys see that? South Carolina or Georgia or something like that?
What, really?
Yeah, there's a fireball that they were tracking. Like, there was a bunch of people who went out and saw this thing fall from the sky, and they were looking for a meteorite or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more we keep talking, the more I feel like China's going to take this and be like, see, the North Americans are causing all the earthquakes in our country. This is why our infrastructure is falling down lately.
What?
No. It has nothing to do with the Americans. It's because your infrastructure is literally tofu drag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had some
they should have hired the Amish.
Yeah, they honestly have. Yeah, they had some of their roadways and infrastructure. Like they had some bridges collapse, and
well,
I'm not happy for them. I'm sad it happened. It's just it wasn't the fat bitch who doesn't exist. AI doesn't exist.
I'm indifferent to their suffering.
I just don't believe in. I don't believe I have the superpowers to save everybody, but some stuff still sucks. Yeah, because you have to understand here. I live in new communist land. I'm looking at my own and being like, I don't know.
Look, Jen. I have the same thing for Donkey. If you want to come over here and become an American citizen, I will accept you with open arms. But you have to promise to give up poutine.
Why would you do that to someone?
No,
you
I don't know. Like what do you have against fries, gravy, and cheese?
Again, we look. I need to be sure that you really want to join us, and you gotta make a sacrifice. You gotta
no, you don't have to give up poutine. You have to bring us poutine.
Live in America. It's freedom. Like,
Jen, Tyr just
really
needs you to find a way to deep fry the gravy as well.
Tell you what, Tyr, if you take away my poutine, I'll take your Second Amendment where I can get a gun and tell you to fuck off. That's how you know I'm American.
There you go.
And wow, she called it poutine. She means business.
Oh shit!
It's poutine. That is what it's called. What do you expect to call it?
Well, yeah, remember
emphasize the poutine. That's you're down in the bayou, and all of a sudden, hey, sir, you're not welcome here in these parts. It's like, holy shit! Okay, you're emphasizing phrase or fucking syllable. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Jen, you gotta remember something. When you enter America for the first time, you get a free gun of your choice.
It's only in Texas.
No, that's everywhere. When you become an American citizen, you get a free gun. They mail it to you. You know.
Don't tell people that. No.
I mean, it's not a good gun.
Now you're gonna get the fucking guys that are like, yeah, I hate America. Let me come here and fucking. Oh, free gun, nice.
No, we become a citizen.
Oh, yeah, they got to go through that process. There's a lot of not those.
Yeah.
And they should actually understand what it means when you. So I know that I don't remember the whole speech that you're supposed to tell when you're pledging allegiance to the flag and stuff, but I remember that being very important in movies and TV shows and like just expressing what it means to become an American in those scenes.
Okay, hold on. Who here, as an American, remembers doing the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag in the United States of America,
of America,
the republic for which it stands, indivisible, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, calm it down, right?
Whoa, hold on. Did you not do that?
I did do that. I'm just saying, y'all was saying that overlapping times, and it sounded.
It was kind
weird.
of amazing because that's what I expect from Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did. Yep. I don't know. Does that mean we're old?
Every morning.
Fuck.
Yeah, I remember it too.
Yep. All of us did it.
It means something that you can do that.
It's like I look at my picture and all of a sudden I'm decaying.
Remember, there are no kings.
I do prefer the old pledge to the new pledge.
With the new pledge.
Well, the new pledge.
They took out the under God part.
No, that is the old pledge. So, the new pledge added in under God, and that happened in the 80s.
It happened a little before the 80s.
I want to say it's 70s or 80s. Let me quickly double check.
It might be the 70s, but it was before the 80s.
Oh,
but the old pledge.
Back by that, any of you see that meme where it said, "Hey, look at these images," and what does it say? And it's like, "Welcome back, Mr. Kata."
Okay, then they didn't end up taking it back out again.
Okay.
Quickly double checking.
I was just saying I like that TV show. It was a good TV show.
I've never seen Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome Back, Kotter was a good TV show.
Yeah.
One of the few times when John Travolting was good.
Who?
John Travolta.
You said John Revolting.
Yeah, who's Revolting? Who the hell is that guy?
I don't know. It's gonna be making up celebrities. I've never heard no damn John.
Is that AI? Get out of here!
No, that was actually what my mom's last husband used to call him.
You know what? I'm gonna start using that. If somebody says something goofy, I'm just gonna be like, "What? Dude, are you fucking AI? Get the fuck
are
out
you AI?
You are AI.
Prove to me that you aren't AI. You aren't AI.
Tell me you are AI.
Also, the way that we pledged was different originally, but that one changed in the fucking 30s.
30s?
Yeah, we used to, rather than doing hand on heart, we used to do full Roman.
Wait, full Roman? What is full Roman?
The full Roman salute.
Oh.
Yeah, we did that from when it was first instituted, which was in the late 1800s.
Well, okay. Don't they attribute it to like
133, 1942.
And when you do Rome C, you got to add the Hail Caesar. Sorry.
But the implication is you're taking your heart and tossing it to the person or whatever.
Well, there's several different interpretations, but the point is we used to do, prior to 33, it used to be full Roman where you would tap your heart with the side of your hand and then go out in front. Which
prior
then
to
changed,
the funny little mustache man.
Yeah, prior to the mustache men, because it changed.
Hey, you know what?
30s or 40s.
Charlie Chaplin also had a funny little mustache, and also is gotten ruined from Sir
funny little mustache.
So
man?
Yeah, so let's
Mr. Lur of hits.
Let's.
Oh, and it was added earlier than I thought. Under God was added in 54.
Hold on, I think Laurel and Hardy, the fat guy, he had that little mustache.
Oliver Hardy also had the funny little mustache.
Yeah, so come on, it's.
You ruined funny little mustaches.
Sick of. Hold on,
was called the toothbrush.
I'm really sick of. We are at this time of frame, 2025, and we still can't sit here and be like, dude, I want to shave my mustache like that, and be like, oh, you can't do that because of this boo. And it's like, are you?
Why
really?
Would you want to? That was the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen.
Oh no, the stupidest ones are the proper chomo stash where it doesn't pass the corners of the mouth, and it's not that it doesn't pass the corners of the mouth because it's twisted up and curled. That's proper. That's
am I not allowed to have the Genghis Khan fucking mustache and goatee? Like, what the fuck?
You're allowed to have it extend past the mouth, and you're allowed to have it a goatee. But I'm saying the chomo stash, which is that paper thin
Oh, the Cholo
doesn't
stash.
pass.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Not Cholo. Chomo.
Yeah, he purposefully mishears it every time. So the Chomo stash of pencil thin and doesn't pass the corners of the mouth.
Okay, I gotcha. Because I was thinking
That
Jafar
is the
for a
worst
second there, and I'm like,
Wait,
Someone
Yeah,
with a proper full-blown
Wonderful
walrus
flack
stash, perfectly
defense.
fine. Handlebar, perfectly fine. Most stashes, perfectly fine. Toothbrush is now no longer allowed because funny little mustache man. And the Chomo just never should happen.
I like the Van Dyke.
I think it's
I misheard that, and then I immediately realized what you had said. I didn't hear van, I heard bang.
I think it's silly, and anybody who sees these fashion statements and attributes it immediately to that is also silly. And yeah, it's 2025. Congratulations.
nowadays it really is the intentions
I
of
didn't
the
say I
person.
agreed with it. I just said
I
knew
didn't
why.
say anybody to anything. I didn't attribute anything to anything. I was just making a declaration. I was saying
It's okay to have a conversation about it, though. And like, no, I understand what you're saying. It really, at this point, is the intentions of the person. Like, I'm going to call it out and take the piss out of Hassan because making fun of him right now is fun.
Dude, yeah, if they're doing it on purpose, I understand. If it's like
that's
holy shit, like
but that
if
symbol in
somebody,
that sword meant something else, and he twisted it for his own fucking thing, and I'm like, you piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, obviously I'm not gonna do it because it looks goofy, and you know, if I'm gonna have a mustache, I'm gonna have a mustache. But I mean, and I understood why they did it at that time, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Whoa, dude, you're doing that? Oh, you want, Blair? You believe this?" It's like, no, it's fucking. I shaved my fucking mustache like this. Relax, sir. It's 2025.
Relax, good sir.
Can I have
I'll
a
be real.
Joseph Stalin mustache and not be attributed to all the horror that he did?
I wouldn't recommend it because it was a terrible stash as well.
And it was and it's much.
It didn't look good. Like, it looked unsanitary.
You
it
had
is
to
a
maintain
very
it.
flat stash.
You really couldn't eat anything with it. But I wouldn't sit here and be like, "Good God, you are wearing that." I think it's ridiculous, and you know what? This is what I'm saying.
But you're not wrong, though.
No. Hold on, Jesus. What I'm saying is,
with you.
No. What I'm saying is, I think it's ridiculous to have a hyperbolic response to somebody having that mustache, and not
I think that's the I think that's the education system, though, because I don't automatically go to Hitler when I think of that stash. I actually think of Charlie Chaplin.
That's the first thing I think of.
And he wasn't a great person. Like, he wasn't a great person either. But like, I still think of his performances. Like, I don't think automatically so hard about a person that I'm like going to the worst things about them either. Like, it's people who do that are honestly probably miserable people, and they want other people to be miserable too.
Can we all agree that the Jamie Heineman was just a superior Stalin stash?
No.
Who's Jamie Wait.
Mythbusters.
Oh.
I reject the reality. It's a planet with my own.
Like two paintbrushes on opposite ends?
The Jamie Heineman was a nice
full the bald guy with the
it was a nice full stash that was actually well maintained.
I honestly
it was
like a soup strainer
stash.
It was what the Stalin stash could have been.
No,
no. It was the Stalin stash, but better.
Stalin was a bit more wild.
Yeah.
No, that's
Stalin-
the point we're making. If Stalin had taken care of his shit, it would have looked good like Jamie.
Jamie Heinemann's stash is a maintained Stalin stash.
So wait, is Jamie Hamlin fucking communist?
No.
No.
He is.
Maybe.
He's a filthy commie.
I don't
He's
know.
a fucking commie.
I think he's the one that's more chill. I think it's, unfortunately, Adam Savage has gone more political.
He's a filthy commie.
I'm not sure which one's which. Which one's the redhead?
So the redhead without a stash.
There's redhead and Baldy.
That's that Carrie.
The walrus stash is Jamie Heinemann.
Okay.
No, well, okay. I'm thinking. Never mind.
Adam, get your mind out.
Are you thinking Carrie?
No, I'm not.
No, he was thinking of the French tickler.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The French. What?
You thinking of the French mistake?
No, he's thinking of the French tickler.
But yeah,
It's
both
a
of them.
Type of mustache.
Yeah, the French mistake.
What
The
is that?
French mistake.
Both of them were gingers. It's just Jamie had.
Still had
I think
hair.
It's a
Had,
little too early to talk about gingerbread
cut
men
short.
and Christmas stuff, sir.
So Raymond, when it comes to Charlie, he had a list of things that were kind of off about him. Like I wouldn't call him a bad person. It's just stuff that I'd be like, oh, okay, you're doing some weird shit. So he was very much a very strong anarchist, and he was a polygamist, and he was kind of a shit parent.
All right. Have you ever seen The Great Dictator?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love that ending speech when he's delivering in front of everybody. I don't want to be an emperor. I don't want to rule the world. I would like to help man. I love that speech. That speech is one of the best things ever written. It embodies a lot of my ideals. Like I don't want to hurt people. I just want to live, be nice, go for mind my own business.
The speech was fairly good in that one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he was a bad person. There's just, I think everyone can have elements where you're like, I don't understand that, and that's fine. You know, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a very different era, you know. So what was outraged back then, you know, it's hard to explain it nowadays because half the people who were alive back then, well, all of them are gone. And a lot of people who are historians, a lot of them are really good, and a lot of people want to make shit up nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not everybody can read Greek, so.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently,
Linear B.
Doesn't even need to
Heinemann-
be Greek. It could even be just like 200 years ago.
apparently Heinemann has been making firefighting robots and a firefighting tank.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he made firefighting robots and a firefighting tank. So he made drones that can fight fires. And he made a vehicle that was incredibly insulated that looked kind of like a tank. And it had a water cannon on top that was able to be aimed from the interior without being exposed to the heat. So it was a firefighting tank.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. I just looked into what he's been up to since Mythbusters ended. And apparently those are two of the big projects that he's been working on.
Engineers always fascinate me. Yeah, with what they can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just a strange thing that I decided to, as we were talking about him, quickly pull up. What the hell has he been up to? Because Adam Savage likes being in media. So he's been very apparent with everything that he does. And he shows off everything that he does. And he talks.
He's an attention
a
whore.
lot. Yeah. Whereas Jamie Heinemann, after leaving the Mythbusters, has been very quiet. And yeah, apparently he made a firefighting tank, and made firefighting drones.
Crazy.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And he made the firefighting drones in response to one of the rounds of California fires, where he said, yeah, the way that he views it is rather than having to risk human life fighting the fires, send in a fleet of these drones, and then after the drones go in, bring in the actual firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying that that's what he's doing, and I'm going to quickly do this. That way we can see what game you're playing.
Oh, I'm playing Road Trader.
Ah.
Cool.
No,
Yes,
it's amazing all the things that they're starting to be able to use drones for.
Oh, yeah.
Move you here and then have you dash.
It's amazing technology that will end up changing the world rather
Motherfucker.
substantially.
I mean, all right, to be fair, Elon, I'm using Elon because a lot of his innovations are changing the world for currently. Like having catching fucking rockets,
Mm-hmm.
reusable rockets. That means less money is being spent building rockets.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, we could get commercial space travel. You know, again, if you can catch the motherfuckers and you can safely land them and safely bring people back up and down, it's only a matter of time.
Yep.
I'm waiting for a moon colony, but hey, you know, I'll be waiting for a minute for that one.
Wonderful. Excellent explanation.
I think we can get a moon colony within my lifetime.
There you go.
For the moon colony, all I can think every time that I think of moon colony is a really good sci-fi book. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
Okay.
Have any of you ever read it?
Mm-mm.
So the gist of it is we colonize the moon and we equip it to grow food and a bunch of other things on the moon. And then it has these green catapults and whatever else they're producing catapults. Because it's really easy and really cheap to have them produce it, launch a shipping container down planet side, have it crash in the ocean. Then we pick it up and we're able to grab whatever they made. A supercomputer on the moon leads the moon to a rebellion and is calculating everything about the war throughout the entire rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the moon slowly separating in the way that the supercomputer ends up changing due to its interactions with humans. In particular, one specific human who was its main engineer, the main person working on it constantly, making sure that it was in good working shape. Because as he would be working on it, it would be talking to him. And yeah, very good story. Very well done. Also, it's one of the sci-fi stories that actually takes into account how people born on different planets would react to Earth gravity and how people from Earth would react to moon gravity.
Okay.
Because there's one point where a bunch of troops are sent from Earth to go deal with the rebellion on the moon. They land and they start trying to run out and deal with the rebels, but they're used to Earth gravity, not moon gravity. So they're flying all over the fucking place as they aren't remaining calm enough to go, okay, I need this amount of force for every action. They're going straight back to what their drilling was. And because of that, they're launching themselves around. And the rebels from Moon are just taking knives. And when they see one of them go flying past, grabbing onto them, kind of climbing up, stabbing them in the femoral, and then dropping back to the ground.
Mm.
It is a very fucked up, very well done fight scene.
What is this?
The Moon is a harsh mistress.
Huh.
Really good sci-fi book.
I just got finished reading it's called Reborn of the Demonic Tree, and it's good. It angers me that I have to wait a while to get the book 7.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You must be ready to read.
Still got 2 more series I got to read before that.
That is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Still got 2 more. I got Reborn as an Ant. Oh, sorry, Chrysalis. It's called motherfucker in these fucking lenses.
Oh, okay.
So, as you can clearly see, the lenses are reviving him. And then I take out one fucking lens and I think, oh, that's all I got. And then the motherfucker revives at another motherfucking lens. You know what I hate about the Ruinous powers?
They don't stay fucking dead?
No,
They're
fuck they
ruinous.
don't. Yes.
You are so clever, Tyr.
All right, so in this in this version of Warhammer 40K, the Ruinous powers are far more active in this universe than they are in the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And so using the warp for anything like magic-based psycho powers fucking draws them to you. So psychos are incredibly powerful, but incredibly dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Because they can explode into a demon.
Yep. Or they could just fucking haul off and drag you into the fucking warp.
Yep.
Like, I accidentally used this ability, which I didn't know I fucking have, and I've opened a rift into the fucking the warp, and now we're all fucking dead. What the fuck was
I
that?
guess you shouldn't have done that, huh?
Is that a projection, or is he really there?
Wow.
It must be a glitch in the game.
Yeah, wait, hold on. What day is it? I thought it was
Friday.
Sanguine's show. I wasn't aware it was a fucking. Where are we at?
What? We're talking about the warp.
All right.
We were talking
about the game that he was playing that we popped up so that we have some visuals. But we're still able to talk about whatever the fuck we choose. In fact, we could go to... Have you guys been laughing as much as I have about every single... This is World War III!
Yeah.
That has popped up within the past couple months?
Some of them have been a little too...
funny?
No. Like, you're gonna actually turn around and make this happen with your wishful thinking, dumbasses.
Well, I'm more amazed that at one point they tried to say, "Oh, there were no weapons, there was no enriched uranium," and Trump, illegally attacked it. They said, "Oh, well, Trump didn't do anything. He didn't even destroy the uranium." So, which is it? They didn't have it, or Trump didn't destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say, could you really quick actually complete a thought before you jump into how to correct it?
Oh shit!
I don't think you got that.
Honestly, wait, am I?
We can hear you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Honestly, first off, I gotta say, it was an amazing fucking run of a B2 run. I think the only other long distance bombing was in Iraq. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
But the precision and what they did, yes, congratulations.
And the fact that I just want to point this out real quick before we move on to the next point. The fact that the only reason why people absolutely know it happened is because we came out and said, "Yep, we fucking did it, and
yeah,
we'll do it again."
Fucking did it, and
because there was it could have been possible for us to do that entire run.
Dude from Missouri.
When Iran went, US, did you bomb our shit? Go, what? Your shit was bombed?
Motherfucker
No
in the god.
Dude, I saw
to be going,
there was
we
I
know
saw
it
a
had
post
to
somebody saying like, oh yeah, imagine fucking going and dropping these fucking bunker busters and flying back and then dropping a fucking bunker buster in the toilet that's in the fucking B2 bomber. There you go, sir. Bam.
But yeah, like I said, there was a possible way that this could have gone down where we didn't admit to shit and it was just everyone in the world going, we kind of know that the US did this because they're the only ones
from Missouri.
But this is terrifying, having to admit that the US did this and it's the only one able to do this and we have no proof.
Yep. There you go. It's like that's why again when it's funny. Okay, we start with the first part where Trump is like, hey, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then we go to the NATO bit where Trump's describing how I had to slap him around, and the fucking head of NATO goes, yeah, and because Daddy needs to come into the car and tell him what's what, and it's like, yup, that's
the fact
exactly.
That the head of the UN called Trump Daddy.
Yes, Daddy. Daddy needs to tell him what's up.
The British lady who was asking him, like, whatever reporter was coming from England was so offended by that. It was funny.
Good.
It was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
They make themselves their own meme, and I'm like, I hope you realize that the minute you're funny to everybody, that's what you are for the next week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, people are paying attention. Eyes are on you.
Uh-huh.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Hey, Sanguine.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I guess it's a week out, and this is a good time as any. What kind of things do you recommend for a cookout for 4th of July?
Steak, burgers, hot dogs. Any of those three works really well.
No chicken?
You can do chicken, but when I'm thinking 4th of July cookout, I'm thinking steak, burger, hot dogs. One of those three or two of those three at the very.
I don't know. I'd swap out hot dog with like a good roasted barbecued chicken breast.
I don't know why, but I have this mental image of one of the weird American food channels getting like a box of firecrackers and then covering the thing in hot dogs and then setting it off.
What?
Yeah.
That is very strange, and the type of chicken that I can see is 4th of July. is beer can chicken.
Hold on. What the hell kind of Canadian YouTube are you watching?
People who do bad things to food, and then also what you guys do with firecrackers.
Well, hold on. That might that might have been footage from Indonesia, and they are doing that to.
I could just see someone doing it, for science, and then feel like, what happens if you do this?
For science.
Yeah,
What is the science though?
blowing things up.
With hot dogs
Apparently.
And firecrackers.
and
Blowing
and
something
fire.
up other than toilets. You mean.
Oh shit! Recently in oh shit, I can't remember where it is. Oh, Florida. It was Florida. Car rammed into a fucking fireworks. I don't know.
A fireworks display.
Well, firecracker is kind of derogative, I think. So-
Fireworks, though. That like a box
Fireworks.
full of
They prefer
hot dogs,
fire
and then you
slave
set
only.
that shit.
Fireworks store.
Fireworks
Plants?
dinner display. Yeah.
No, a store, and it
Yeah,
went
and
off.
it exploded.
Yeah, did you see it?
Oh.
Did you see the?
Yeah, I saw it.
Dude, it looked awesome. I was like,
Oh god, this
There
is
goes-
why Jen thinks this.
what? Oh, with the American. But no, this is obviously this is an
All you
isolated
needed
thing.
to
It was
do
a
was
store.
drive a chicken truck into it, and you would have just completed Jen's visual.
I mean, I don't know who drove the truck. He was probably.
No.
We could. You want to make it also extra American?
That
He
wasn't
was
the
a terrorist.
point.
He was a terrorist, and he drove the truck into the. He drove a
It was
Cybertruck into the.
It was a
fucking
Cybertruck of
fireworks.
peace.
Yep. There you go. America.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's like that one time that I learned about the Oregon whale. I'm like, oh my god, you
The
really
Oregon
do use-
whale.
Yeah, you've never you've heard the Oregon whale story.
How
No, I
many
never
pipes
heard
does
the
this whale have?
I'm
The
sorry, Angie. I mean, seriously, I thought he knew.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, I either had how many pipes did this whale have, or how does he like the western coast?
Okay, Sanguine, I'm gonna look up that video clip too, because if they haven't experienced that, they need to.
Oh no!
Yep, it was a beached whale that we blew up.
Oh yeah, where they
Oh.
blew it up.
Oh,
No.
So
I've
then
heard
you
of
do
that.
know.
Yeah.
It's
I
still a
actually
funny.
hadn't heard about this. So
It's still a funny moment in TV. It's worth sharing.
Well,
or if I've heard
Well,
of
hold
it, I
on,
don't
hold on.
realize
What does that say? Where I don't have immediately in my brain fucking capacity that blowing up a landlocked whale comes up when I think of Oregon whale.
That's not what I think
is that-
when I think of Oregon whale.
You've never heard of it referred to as Oregon whale?
Mm-mm.
And it sounds a little too much like a play on Oregon Trail.
Well, no, yeah, I just went over the jokes on that. Like, I don't think about it. Oh, yeah, I remember that the whale that fucking beached up, and all of a sudden they had to blow it up with dynamite, and it crushed cars and all that shit. I've seen the news
never
story.
heard about this.
Oh,
Amazing.
Or if I
Spoilers.
did, I didn't realize that was what I...
guess what, Angela? There's gonna be some cars crushed with whale guts.
At the very least, I had never heard of it referred to as Oregon whale.
Well, it's because it's a double Einstein
God damn
tree.
it.
Because I mean, you have to move it.
Sanguine,
and
what's the
so
word? Double Einstein tree or something like that, where it's
Double
like,
entendre.
Double
Yeah.
entendre.
where it's Oregon guts and organ guts. Yeah. I don't know. I'm done. Can we
Yeah.
see the footage?
Blowing up of the.
Oh
whale
no.
of the burger.
Oh no.
All right, there you go.
Are we gonna wait? Hold on. Are we gonna get banned?
I
It's
can
on
follow.
YouTube.
Don't get Zoo on banned.
I don't
No,
see
don't
why.
get Zoo banned. Well,
It's
because-
currently showing a YouTube video,
okay.
so it didn't get them banned.
It should get up.
Okay, this
I'm
is
just-
like old.
I'm just
Yep.
looking-
Okay,
I'm just
now
That's
looking
what
under-
makes it so much more magical, Angie, is when you realize.
I have never heard of this referred to as the Oregon whale.
Angela, this is a cutout part from Willy Wonka.
Yes. This Willy Wonka and the exploding corpse.
This is what happens when you need to get rid of the blueberry juice afterwards.
That's what I was just thinking. That it's a cutaway during the blueberry part while they're rolling her away, and they're asking, "Well,
They
is
had-
there a
They
cure?"
had to
And
cut
it's
the
just
footage.
Willy
Someone looks at
Wonka
it.
They had to
thinking
cut the
about
footage before
this.
the Oompa Loompas came out.
Oompa loompa doobie dee doo. I'm going to blow up the whale for you.
Can I play it now, or?
Yep.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
it said, the Oregon State Highway Division not only had a
Okay.
whale of a problem on its hands, it had a stinking whale.
Paul
of a problem.
Lindman.
What to do with one
Stinking
45-foot, 8-ton whale dead on arrival on the beach near
Dead?
Florence?
How do
It had
I?
been so long since a whale had washed up in Lane County,
Wait,
nobody
stop.
could remember how to get rid of
20
one.
tons of
In
dynamite.
selecting its battle plan, the
And
Highway
it was
Division
just
decided
like
the carcass couldn't be
Empire
buried
Strikes
because it might
Back
soon be
with-
uncovered. It could
The lightsaber.
They kept
be
trying to
cut
pull
up
it
and then
into the
buried because
ocean,
nobody
and
wanted
it
to cut
failed.
it up, and it couldn't be
Well,
burned.
they're heavy
They-
as shit. You
Yeah.
know?
They tried to pull it in with several vehicles. It failed.
Thank you.
They tried Come up.
They
with
are
it.
heavy as
you
shit.
can move heavy things, you know.
No, get out of here.
Like-
You said it, and I'm gonna joke on it. That's how it works.
So they started trying to come up with different ways of getting rid of it. Is the backstory?
Burned.
Yeah,
Dynamite it was,
TNT
and
Dynamites from
blow a half
Acme.
ton of it.
There we go.
Long
Look at all them
Even
tons of
the
dynamite.
boxes.
Oh my
God. Any small pieces still around after the explosion would be taken care of by seagulls and other scavengers. Indeed, the seagulls had been
Welcome to
standing
the
nearby
zoo,
all
ladies
day.
and
As
gentlemen.
everything was being made ready, we asked George
So pause it
Sparky
again
how
real
he-
quick because he didn't really say it. So the plan was that they were going to dig a pit on the shore side of the whale, then stuff that pit with explosives so that when they detonated them, they would toss the whale back into the ocean.
Oh, like chum?
I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
it didn't work the way they planned.
They weren't
No.
intending on blowing it to pieces. They just wanted to pop it up and back into the water and then drag it further out to sea.
Well, I mean, obviously they didn't want some random sea bums going over there and trying to fuck it.
Mhm.
What the hell,
engineer in charge of the project
Adam?
for his final observation.
Well, I'm confident that it'll
Well,
work.
you
The
know,
only thing is, we're
I
not
love
sure
how they brought his
exactly
son,
how much,
you know.
explosives it'll take
It was
to
a family
disintegrate this
event.
Oh,
thing,
geez,
so
kid,
the
I
scavengers
really
will
wanted to
have some
kick
what
this
not to
whale.
do.
Is there any chance?
Oh, come on, Dad. Can I poke it with a stick before you blow it
If
up?
there's any large chunks left,
No, they literally
And,
had people from the town
we
come
may
down
have
to go
do
see
some
this
other
stupid
cleanup,
thing.
possibly
Dude,
So-
there are people out there willing to
Dynamite
get
was
some
buried
whale
primarily on the
chunks.
leeward side of the
Well,
big
you know,
mammoth,
I've
whereas
never
most
really
of the
tried
remains would
whale
be
meat,
blown
but
toward the sea.
you know,
Of
I'd
75
be willing to
bystanders, most of them residents
try
who
and
at
get
first
some
found the
whale
whale to
meat.
be an object of curiosity before they tired of
Oh
its
my,
smell,
Adam!
were moved back
What
a
have
quarter
you
of a
been?
mile away.
Did
The
you go to
sand dunes there were covered
FedCon?
with spectators
I know
and
that was in
landlubber
Seattle.
newsmen.
I
Whoa,
Land
whoa!
I don't know why you would
okay.
go there, but
With a blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
Wow, Jen is cutting close tonight. What the?
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
There you go.
Fire in the hole!
Okay,
Yeah, safe to say they didn't just launch the whale back into the ocean.
there's gonna be a lot of cleaning involved if you get a piece.
Yep.
Oh, hey, think of it this way. It's already cooked.
Oh well, yeah.
Especially
Our
since
son
you
stopped
hear
rolling
those
immediately
dull
after the blast.
thuds.
The humor of the entire situation.
Oh
suddenly
no.
a run for survival.
That was
Yeah,
just
oh, no.
Whales fell everywhere.
fucking
Pieces of
fall
meat passed high over our
everywhere.
heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly
He's
evacuated as
laughing.
spectators escaped both the falling debris and the
Yeah,
overwhelming
kinda.
smell. A parked
I
car
hate
over a corner
cryptic.
from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment.
Oh
Look
no!
at the car.
No human
Oh
That's fuck.
no!
I didn't even want it in
Jeebus.
Walmart.
This
They're
is
fucking
actually
whale
okay.
cut.
There's a guy that
seagulls who were supposed to
my-
clean things up were nowhere in sight.
Oh, it
Mom
hit
and my
seagulls.
By the explosion,
Stepdad
but
set me up on a
it
blind date with
It
one
didn't
time.
really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a
Basically,
size
that
no
is how he
respectable
ended up
seagull would
dying.
attempt to
Only
tackle
instead of
anyway.
whale
As
parts,
darkness
it
began
was
to
a
set in,
bull.
The highway crews were back on the beach, burying the remains, including a large
Oh,
you
piece
mean
of
the
fish which never left the
Greek,
blast
it
site.
was a turtle
It
shell.
might be concluded that should a whale ever shore and lay
turtle?
copy again,
The
he's in charge will not only
person that
remove what to
was
do, they'll certainly
is
remember
jokingly referred to as the first
Wayfarers Canada Day clearance.
verified death by aerial bombardment.
That was
Was
funny.
an ancient Greek that his head was cracked open by a turtle shell because a bird, I think it was a type of hawk or something like that, was carrying a turtle and was going to drop it on the rocks in order to break it open so it could feast upon the turtle. And it saw a dude's head. The dude was completely bald. It thought it was a rock. It dropped the turtle on the dude's head. Dude's head did not survive the contact.
The turtle shell.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, the turtle did just fine. It just wandered off. Fuck you.
That's fucked up.
He was a poacher though. I get that it's bad that he died, but at the same time he's a poacher.
Yeah, you're talking a more modern one. The one that I was talking about is fucking ancient.
Okay.
Because it was ancient Greece when this happened. And
That
everyone
by fallen
was very
turtles.
confused until they saw the turtle completely broken open and blood on it that wasn't seemingly turtle blood.
Yeah, that would happen. They're very hard shells, and it doesn't need to be that hard for a decent drop to do damage.
Yep. But yeah,
That's why I have a I have a
if
fear of
it's carried
heights.
by
You
an African swallow?
know?
So African swallow, that tells us exactly what type. Because normally you have to wonder, is it a European or African swallow?
Oh shit! What? But I don't know. Oh no!
What is the average airspeed of the unladen swallow? African or European?
European.
We are the night to say.
Or when they come back, we are no longer the knights who say neat. We are now the knights who say icky, 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 zoop, zoop, bang, whoop.
Your mother was after your father smelled of elderberries.
Okay.
I bite my thumb in your general direction. I move.
I've been
Do
getting
you
a
bite
laugh.
your thumb at me, sir?
Yes, I bite my thumb at you. No, I do not quarrel with you, sir. Do you quarrel with me? God damn it.
Yeah, it's probably not nice that when the Ukraine war started that I was kind of like, are we fighting over large tracts of land again?
Yo, hold on.
You
Would
got
that
the
be
line wrong.
that'd be a good movie to
I
watch?
think I did.
The fucking Romeo and Juliet 1990s version.
I actually like that one.
It was pretty good.
I did not
Here
like
are you, heartless hinds. Ba-ba.
I
It
didn't
wasn't terrible, but it's not my favorite.
hate it, but I didn't like it.
Get to me, my long sword. And he just grabs the shotgun.
Yep, he goes for the shotgun. Make fast my longsword, ho.
And the Prince of Valencia was the
Prince of
sheriff.
Cats.
Who's the chief of police?
Oh yeah.
I do like I think the best casting was John Leguizamo as Tybalt.
Yeah, I loved John Leguizamo as Tybalt, and I loved the guy that played Mercutio.
Yes, Mercutio was awesome.
I can't say his last name, but I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Claire Danes really do anything after this?
Yes.
She was a Resident Evil, wasn't she?
Oh, was she?
Was she?
Yeah.
No.
I get them confused. I'm not sure if it was Resident Evil or it was one of the horror movies that they did a movie version of. I can't remember. Can't remember if that. Yeah, because I don't know if it was that one or Silent Hill. Like, I don't think they made a Silent Hill.
They did. They made a Silent.
Maybe it was that one then.
What's his face? Ooh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. That guy. No, he uses or not use. I don't want to say. I don't want to demean, but because I think he's married to her. But what's her name? The Fifth Element.
Oh,
Mila
Jovovich.
Yeah,
is the one from the
Multipass.
The dead. The one that Rotten likes with the Wexler
the
guy.
one that Walty likes.
The one that Rotten likes with Wexler and Resident Evil.
Wesker, not Wexler.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know. I don't do that.
Those type of movies. Come on, man.
No, the whole game. That was after my video game time.
Oh.
My brother played it a little bit, but not much. It wasn't his type of game either, really.
I'm not big on Resident Evil either, so. Or Silent Hill. Those are PlayStation.
I know my brother played them, but I
I
don't
know.
remember him playing them much. And they were very much the type he would play and he would beat them and then he would sell them for something else.
Profit.
Not profit. It was always another game.
He's one of those.
Not everyone's a Ferengi tier.
They should be. Ferengis are awesome. Name me one bad thing. Name one bad Ferengi.
Wait,
what's the Grand Nagus?
The Grand Nagus is a great man. Rom is a great Grand Nagus. All right. See, you didn't know that, did you? Rom's Grand Nagus.
Not at that. I never got that far into it here.
Again, I support Grand Nagus Rom and all his reforms. I mean, they're not stuff I do, but like so.
I don't know how I brought this about. I apologize, Sanguine.
She called me she called me said not everybody's a Ferengi, and that's
I did. Not everyone is a Ferengi.
and like I said, they should be. We are awesome.
No,
we are.
You're tolerable.
Who's better than a Ferengi? Who do you trust more, a Ferengi or a Vulcan? Don't answer
that. Thank you.
I just said don't answer that.
Don't make me be mean here. Hi, brother. Yeah, see, that's what I meant.
Again.
My brother just said exactly the thing.
It's all right. I'm not hurt by your specious talk. And Angela, you need to do better. All right. You know, I'm gonna send you some books. You know, the rules of acquisition. You know, profit, and you know, the Ferengi rules of commerce. Those are great reads. You should read them all. And you know what? I want to charge you for them. They're gifts. Ugh. Oh, I feel sick a little.
But yeah, my brother says exactly what I said. I played the first one and traded it back into GameStop within 7 days to get the refund and get a game.
Oh, man. Excuse me.
Because it's not really his jam.
I mean, not every game is everyone's cup of tea.
I didn't buy a PlayStation until I moved out of home. That's just the truth of it. Like, I had a Nintendo, and I think my brother had a different system, but like once he moved out, that was gone too. So yeah, I didn't have anything other than Nintendo, and he stole my Game Boy. And then after that, I just didn't buy anything else because, in all honesty, the people bitching about the prices, I'm like, that's been going on for years. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, now they're getting ridiculous for them. Like, you want damn near $80 for a game that's half finished.
And I'll be real with you, Tier. I think that's because people were forgiving before, and I do understand that, like 10 years ago, economically, I'd say most people were doing better in terms of finances. So yeah, spending a little extra money was fine, but that was 10 years ago. Some people are still doing okay. Most of us are like, I'd rather eat decent food and function and then just play what I have, because what I have is still fine.
Yeah.
What I have might be better than what I could get right now.
But also, like, when it comes to the new releases, and I'll be real, it's not my genre, but the Expedition 33, like that kind of stuff, like, yeah, they're $40, but it still looks like something from like 20 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I could see myself like, okay, that's a little pricey for me, but there's the odd pricey game that I don't mind putting a little money for if it looks like it was worth it.
Or it looks like it's honestly a good game.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, it's a little bit pricey. In a lot of ways, it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can be pricey if you're looking at it going, I'm not going to be playing it on the top settings. I'm not going to be doing all that. Then, yeah, it can seem a bit expensive. But it's also an actually good story with good writing, good gameplay. It can be played at really high settings. All of that is pointing in the direction of, yeah, it's a damn good game. I haven't heard anyone really gainsay it, for instance.
Well,
okay, hold on. The argument could be made back in the day that should Tetris on the NES be priced as the same level as Faxanadu on the NES?
Yes.
You think so?
Then
you are agreeing with whatever. I mean, obviously, personally, I think with the pricing, I think it's goofy. You know, hey, whatever they want to charge for whatever they're offering, that's the price of admission. You want to play the game, that's what you need to pay. You got to pay it. But then again, I'm an old motherfucker, so hold on.
Wait a minute.
So
Let me
with what you just said,
let him finish his thought here.
Yeah.
Well, he
If
just jumped into a point. I want to counterject, and he jumped into this.
Well, technically, he jumped in when I was saying something, so
Okay, let Sanguine.
he can go, and then I'll finish out mine, and then you can go.
Right. So the idea of the pricing difference is kind of goofy, but again, to me, it all falls on to, well, if you can pay for it, you can pay for it. If you think Tetris is worth $60, you're gonna pay $60 to play Tetris. Like that's there you're at.
Here's my thought on it. I think what's going to happen is probably pretty similar to what happened to the beta machine. Because while it's true, there are rich people in this world who can afford better products, that doesn't mean they're going to spend their money on it. Because VHS still sold more, and beta was the better machine.
Well, in some ways, yes. In other ways, no. So each of them had trade-offs. The VHS won the domestic market.
Mm-hmm.
The
Where is it? I know it's here.
Actual home market, whereas beta was preferred by people that were producing works. So beta was preferred by producers or production side. The VHS was preferred by the consumer side. So consumer side wins that argument almost 100% of the time. Consumer side wins that argument.
And that's where I'm at. Like, they can sit there and be like, well, if you want to join our pig club, you're going to have to pay our fees. Well, that might work for some people who can afford that. And fair enough. That's always been true in my life. There's always some toys I'm not going to play with because like they're outside of my budget. Fair enough.
And when it comes down to the console, what's going to happen is what happens with every single console, which is it'll come out with one price, and then after a couple months, that price will be lowered. And then after a couple months, that price will be lowered. And then after a couple months, that price will be lowered. The initial cost, the way that I always view it when it comes out with shit like this, is the initial cost is always going to be higher than what I'm willing to pay. But it's going to come back down into reasonable levels. And also, by the time that it comes down into reasonable levels, it's going to be an actual completely functional console. Because when you start off, the first people that get the Switch 2 are going to be the ones that notice all the glitches with the Switch 2. And then those glitches are going to get fixed. So people that buy it later don't have the glitchy Switch 2. They have the good Switch 2. And this is something that you see with consoles constantly, where the first round will have a shit ton of errors that are later corrected for.
Isn't that what I said, Adam?
I'm I'm gonna. Hi. Yes.
Hello.
When we were talking about it the other day, and you were all like, I'm so bummed out. I really want to get the Switch 2. My friends just sent me pictures from Costco, and I'm like, so you wait and you get it when it's like a solid $100 cheaper.
I mean, $100 plus all the shit that they add on to it, you know.
You know what I mean. But it's going to cost less, and it's going to be a finished product.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why it annoys the shit out of me whenever people are talking about medical research. And they're going, but you don't understand when the new surgery is... greenlit for people to have, or when this new treatment is greenlit, it's just going to be for fucking rich people. And I'm going, yeah. And then the rich people will find out the problems with it.
Oh, right. Yeah. And yeah, Costco is for rich people. Yes.
No,
Okay.
Costco isn't for rich people. I'm saying that it's the same complaint when it comes to the price of consoles.
Oh, no, I
being
tripped
too
over
high.
myself.
So
Shit, no.
only rich people will be able to afford the console. My response is, well, yeah, they'll also find the issues with it, and then it'll be corrected. So by the time that it hits the market for everyone else at a price that they can afford, it's a finished product, rather. And the same thing happens all the time when it comes to people talking about medical research, where they're constantly saying that medical research is bullshit because we spend all this time and money developing a new treatment, and then it just goes to the rich people to start. And I'm going, yeah.
Whoa.
And then it slowly filters down throughout the rest of the population as it becomes cheaper. And
Well, I don't
all
know
of
if
the
you
initial
wanna...
issues are corrected.
I don't know if you want to talk about the recent RFK Jr. And his plans with the whole health initiative. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put it right on the table. I only know a fog of a interactive on that, but shit, it is interesting, and I think you might be interested in it, seeing as
Only
how, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'll need to look into it because I haven't looked into it in a while. But it's something that medical research fascinates me.
Yeah,
The things that people get wrong about medical research constantly infuriate me.
and it's good to have all the information of the people, at least who are, well, at least who are, you know, uh, running such things. So, yeah, but yeah, hey, sorry to deter the conversation.
The thing that one of the things that always drives me crazy whenever people talk about medical research, especially Americans on the left talking about medical research, is they'll bring up the old canard of, well, all the medicines are really funded, or all the R&D is funded for by the American government, so why aren't we getting it for free? And I'm going, the American government is outspent on the lowest year. So the year where the gap is the smallest, they're outspent 3-1. On the more average year, it's somewhere in the range of 4-5-1. And on the widest gaps, it's 6-7-1. Where
Holy shit.
private industry spending versus the government spending. The vast majority of medical research spending is private industry. And it's been private industry for decades.
Okay, I sorry, I hit the mic. So you don't think that's not nefarious in any way, right? No, yeah.
That private industry spends the most when it comes to medical research?
Yeah, I mean,
how would that be nefarious?
It's nefarious if you consider that it's basically used as a cudgel for both the government and the people. But
well, that would be more if it was more government spending, then it could be used as a cudgel.
No, that would be if it was a cudgel of the government being used on the people. The private It's the same as private for-profit prisons. They're using their contracts and everything to hold the government over a barrel.
Oh, see, that's a different thing because you're
So
talking about a contract. So when it comes to medical research, it's not the businesses are being contracted by the government to come up with the meds. The way that it works. So medical research has a shit ton of different levels. I don't think I'm shocking anyone when I say that. So the most basic level, that's the level where 90+% of the funding from the government goes into the very basic level of research, which at the end of that very basic level of research, there's a result of, yes, this might be able to be turned into medicine, or fuck no. That's the result of that very first level of research.
Mhm.
It is either something might potentially work or absolutely won't. So, for instance, this is where, to use an example of one of the things that drives them crazy, because people made a massive conspiracy theory out of it, there's a chemical that is derived from the cordyceps fungus. Cordyceps are the zombie fungus. You guys familiar with the zombie fungus?
It's the one that's used in the voodoo rituals to make them.
Well, that and it's really deadly for certain insects, and the deer aren't doing well with it.
Well, the zombie fungus.
Yeah, the one that's driving the deer crazy.
The zombie fungus, it is able to grow within the host, and as it grows, it starts fucking with the host's brain, starts making it do different things. There's specific zombie fungi for a shit ton of different insects.
Whoa.
So, for instance, if we're talking about an ant that's infected with its particular cordyceps fungus, what it'll do is, at a certain point in the fungus's growth, it will start just climbing, and it'll try to get as high as it can. And then when the growth progresses a little bit more, wherever it is, it will lower its head and it will clamp down with its mandible as hard as it possibly can. And then the fruiting body of the cordyceps will spout out of the head, killing the ant that it has been controlling. And then spores will rain down over the entire area. So if an ant gets infected and it isn't removed, a lot of ant colonies will remove members that it believes to be infected. The entire colony will be eradicated by the cordyceps fungus as the spores for the cordyceps fungus rain down over the ant colony.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I want to say, some like 80 years ago or some shit like that. It was found out that cordyceps fungus, this one chemical from cordyceps fungus, can kill cancer in a petri dish. That sounds kind of cool, right? I mean,
Well, I mean, if you have cancer but you can't fit into a petri dish, what are you gonna do?
Oh God.
That's kind of the problem, because even though that was a joke, that is the issue with that particular treatment. Because
You know what? Cancer is not a joke, sir.
when it came to actually seeing if this cordyceps-derived thing can be used in the treatment of cancer,
I'm hurt.
ended up being the result was, yeah, it can kill cancer in a petri dish. The thing is that a shit ton of things can kill cancer in a petri dish. Fire can kill cancer in a petri dish. A 9mm can kill cancer in a petri dish. That doesn't mean that you go into an onco ward, light every cancer patient on fire, and shoot them with a 9mm.
But how precise do you have to be, Sanguine?
Oh my gosh,
Kill this.
Adam.
What? I'm
So-
trying to get to the nitty gritty.
Through further experimentation with the cordyceps-derived chemical, they were able to figure out the exact mechanism and why it was killing cancer. The thing was that it was a chain-terminating nucleotide it's agonist. Agonist is the one that's a copy. So it was a chain-terminating nucleotide agonist. So what that means is that the body treated it as if it was a nucleotide, but the moment that it was added into the sequence, that sequence immediately ended. I can't remember which one of the 4 nucleotides it was a agonist for, but let's say it was an agonist for A. So you guys know how DNA is set up. T's match with A's, G's with C's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would randomly insert this chain-terminating agonist into a position where an A was supposed to be added. And then it would just stop replicating the DNA there and kick it off, and it would treat it as if it was a fully formed bit of DNA. So what that cordyceps thing did was, or that chemical from cordyceps did, was it gradually Ginzu-knived DNA, cutting it into ever smaller chunks, always terminating at an A. Which, yeah, that'll kill cancer, because cancer needs to replicate. And in order to replicate, it needs functional DNA to replicate. The problem is that will kill anything if given enough time, because normal cells need to replicate. And they need functional DNA in order to properly replicate. So it didn't have any specificity. It would do this to fucking everything, which meant that it was insanely damaging. But because it was determined in preliminary research that it might have cancer-curing properties, a bunch of people went whole hog with it. They started using it as a alternative medicine, and people have been seriously harmed by using it. Because the first level of research is the one that government funding goes into. And it goes into in the greatest supply. The greatest proportion of the government funding to medical research goes into that first level of medical research. Then it's companies come in and they look at all the things that might work, and they exclude everything that has already been determined will definitely not work. And they look at everything that might work, and then they determine which ones are the most likely to potentially succeed. And then they'll start researching the ones that are most likely to potentially succeed. And that enters the main round of preclinicals. It's something like 5% of the medicines that enter preclinicals make it through preclinicals. At the end of preclinicals is when they put in for the patent, because a patent is trying to remember the exact time. I want to say it's 12 to 20 years, depending on the type of patent that you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So you put in for your patent, 12 to 20 years, and they almost always put in the 20-year patent, because after that, they then put it into clinical testing. Anyone happen to know how long clinical testing takes on average?
A while.
8 to 12 years.
5 minutes?
It takes
8 to 12 years, Adam.
12 years. So they've already patented the med, or the potential med. Then it goes into clinicals. And the first round of clinicals, a good chunk of medicines bomb out. If it bombs out in the first round of clinicals, you just stop the clinicals. And that's the best situation. If it's going to fail at any point in clinicals, you want it to fail in the first round of clinicals. Because that means that you spent the least amount of money on it.
Yep.
a lot of meds don't have the common goddamn courtesy to fail in the first round of clinicals. Second round of clinicals, you spend more money. A lot of meds bomb out in that. This is the second best option. Because, again, you've spent more money than the first round, but this is the next lowest amount of money that you can spend. So if it doesn't bomb out in the first, but it's going to bomb out, you want it to bomb out in the second. Again, medicines don't have the common goddamn decency to bomb out in the second round. Then you have the third round. Third round is also rather fucking expensive. And from medicines that enter clinical trials to the end of clinical trials, it's something between 2 and 5% end up making it through clinicals. So you have, of the things that might be medicines, 95% of them fail before they enter clinicals. Then of the things that might be medicine that didn't fail and enter clinicals, 95 to 98% of them fail in clinicals. You spent all that money beforehand. You don't get that money back. It doesn't get refunded because it failed. So the medicines that you actually get through clinicals, which are that 2 to 5% of the 5% of the medicines that you started with, those you have to recoup all your losses for all the others that went through, also turn a profit, and you want to get this all done while selling at a price that you're able to become the household name for whatever the med is, so that after your 8 to 12 years remaining of your patent, people will continue buying your product. It is insanely expensive. The thing about this, though, is that a lot of people don't know, or at least a lot of people outside of biochem and meds research don't seem to know, is, do you know what percent of the annual medical innovation comes out of the US every year and has come out of the US every year for like 40 plus years now?
No, I don't know.
A lot.
The average is 48 to 54% of global medical innovation comes from the US.
Okay. So a lot wasn't wrong.
Yeah. A majority would be correct as well, because like I said, a good chunk of that range is north of 50%. So the US has managed to be insanely productive with its medical research. Also, one of the other things that a lot of people don't mention is if you look at another stat that has been tracked for ages, which is the primary funders of medical research, which the way that they do one of the stats, the one that I rather like to use, is the funders of successful medical innovation.
Oh.
Where it looks at the top funders of successful medical innovation, which are if a product has come to market that is a new drug, a new procedure, a new bit of medical equipment, anything like that, hits the market. It looks at the top 5 funders of that research. There is one nation on Earth that for the past 30 years has been in the top 5 funders of 100% of medical innovation. And actually, it gets a bit more ridiculous because it is 100% of medical innovation, with one or more of the top 5 entities being from a single nation. Of course, that single nation is the US.
And continuous how many years?
That has been for over 30 years. The 48 to 50, like 456, was for over 40 years.
Excellent.
So there's a lot of problems with US healthcare. Not denying that. Not saying that there aren't problems. But there's also the insane efficacy of US medical R&D that isn't given enough credit, because if not for the US doing the funding that it does, you're looking at the majority of medical research on Earth evaporating. And that's one of the things that drives me crazy about a lot of the, well, we need to fix this problem. Well, how are we going to fix it? Well, we'll look at ways that other countries have dealt with part of the issue. And the thing is that other systems have some advantages. They have really big disadvantages. One of the main disadvantages of, for example, the Canadian healthcare system is, Canadian healthcare, you have the free option of healthcare, as Jen will be able to attest, right?
Yeah, but you might be waiting for a while, and not everything is necessarily the greatest. Some people do actually spend a little bit to get a little bit better when they're getting their health care.
Yeah, so you have the government funded, which will take a lot of time. And beyond taking a lot of time, it will also be a limited selection. Would that be a fair way of saying that, Jen? Limited selection of treatments?
Yeah.
So you have the limited selection, long wait. Also, when you look at the amount of medical R&D that Canada does, it doesn't hold a fucking candle to the amount that the US does.
Jeez.
US medical is expensive. Absolutely. But it is also quick, has the greatest selection of treatments, and again, we produce, on any given year, there's a high probability that we produce more than half of the global medical R&D.
You okay?
When I am... No, are you okay?
Yeah, somebody
Yeah, what was that?
fell or bumped into their mic or something.
Hey, you bump in the night.
I think that was Sanguine. Did you drop your stuff?
I didn't drop anything. I'm sitting right here. I heard it as well. I'm not sure from who, but...
Must have been Tyr.
Tyr, you doing your dishes? He's doing his dishes. That's my story, and I'm standing by it.
I think you're probably right, or either that or he's making tea.
Yeah, hold on. Continuing with the story.
Anyway, I was going to say, for stuff that actually does concern me, and in all honesty, we have the same problem, so I don't think that's limited to just your health care.
Yep.
In all honesty, the fact is, if you do your own research, Sanguine's not wrong, because there are options that you could look into where you can clearly see there's something weird about it. Like companies that I wouldn't deal with are people who sell Mars products. And you're like, why would I think that? Okay. Well, Mars sells a lot of junk food. They sell a lot of crap. But somehow they also sell a lot of healthcare products. And to me, that sounds like that sounds like a cycle of something that you're kind of inventing for me. So you know what? I might get candy from somewhere else or make my own.
Dipping into both ends of it.
Yeah. Stuff like that will have me being like, you know what? You don't seem good faith to me somehow. Like, it's just a bit sketch. I can understand, like, okay, well, McDonald's does a lot of donations to cancer funds and a lot of things that, like, you know what, as scummy as their food is in the Western world, yeah, they do a lot of stuff that I like about them. But they're not lying about their food. Not really. It is what it is.
Honestly, I don't think I can trust. I don't think I can trust Jen, because of that accent. What do you?
All Ethel M makes is chocolate. Literally.
Chocolate aside,
Like, the company may have turned
she's
around
giving
and
sides over here. You know what?
Okay. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, you started talking about chocolate. I'm sitting here.
She's
trying to
talking
think.
about the Ethel M company, the M&M Mars company.
Mars. It's
yeah,
one of those things when you follow that. Yes, they own Pedigree, and Pedigree's kind of a crap dog food brand.
Yeah,
but they also sell the really good stuff that you would get at the vet. They endorse the vets. They own certain vet clinics, and like I that kind of stuff. I get double dipping, but at the same time, though, they do so much research into that kind of stuff, and that's why I'm like, marketers know more about you than you think.
This is true, and you know what? I apologize for the quick response.
Yeah, sorry.
My point is, of all of the stuff that those people make, the one thing that I would be most likely to purchase is the chocolate, because I've actually been to the place where the chocolate is made, and they're pretty much straight up just chocolate. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fair enough, Angie, but like, that's the thing, you're also an adult. Like, you can, control your own diet, all that stuff is fine. Some of the reason I pulled away from Mars was just, I do get a little bit tired of the shady way that they market stuff sometimes. And I don't agree with the dyes. I am starting to question some of those dyes a little bit, but a lot of candy is geared towards kids. That's actually why I pulled away from a lot of stuff. Is I like kids to have fun. I'd like them to have treats. I don't like it to be at their expense, So I don't like them because of stuff like that, Yeah, I grew up with candy too.
Yeah, so did I, and my mom didn't let me have candy every freaking meal, which, I mean, is where the problem is. That's back to, it's not the chocolate company, it's the parents not turning around and...
Chocolate's fantastic in moderation. The problem is a lot of people don't fucking moderate.
Exactly.
But yeah, one of you said that you were concerned that the majority of medical research funding came from private industry.
Yeah, that was you, Mr. Adam. Sorry.
So
had to tell.
Why would you prefer if it came from public funding rather than private industry?
Wait, what?
One of you, and Jen pointed to you, was concerned that the majority of medical research came from private industry.
Okay, well, first off, at least I know who threw me under a bus. Like, what the fuck?
You did say that, though, Adam.
Well, But it's
Sorry, it was how quick I did it. I was like, nah, I tell
It wasn't. It wasn't like.
and hold on. You know
were
what?
saying
Hold
either,
on. Hold on.
What am I supposed to hold on to?
Hold on. You want to go Roman?
Roman?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
Don't do the salute. It's
Yeah,
frowned
let's-
upon now.
You
I
weren't
can't
saying, Adam,
I
that
can't believe
okay.
that
Never
you
mind.
would also
I was
hold
about
that dagger. I didn't even
I was
have a
to speak
stance
up in your
in this.
defense.
Hold on.
But you keep cutting me off.
Okay. Well, oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Hold on.
I was going to say that what you were saying was that you didn't say you don't agree with it. You asked if that might not be a little bit suspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had said that I kind of understand because I sort of looked at it in the same vein as I look at public for profit prisons or private for profit prisons. And Sanguine kindly explained to me
The difference between going for government contract and footing the bill for the research and then trying to recoup research costs. and make
Okay,
profit.
so why aren't you talking to Sanguine about it? I don't care about the prison. Hey, you know, there's alligator prison coming up out there in Florida. You want to talk about that?
Is it a prison for alligators or
Yeah,
is it
it's
a prison
alligator
of alligators?
Alcatraz. Shit, you want to talk about? Dude, that's a real thing.
Adam got
was
lost in
not-
the explanation of
I'm doing fucking sports bowling. What are you guys doing? Holy, I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't have my notes. What the
Adam lost
We-
track of the conversation because he got caught up in his bowling.
Oh my
It's-
goodness.
It's one of those things where I can respect that Sanguine hasn't lost faith with the healthcare system, and I do kind of respect that because a lot of people have, and the last 4 years, like even with just I know there's the COVID shit and all that too, like that fucked everybody up for a lot of people, but it's the truth with the medical. There are a lot of people who are really in it to try to help people, and there's some people who are psychopaths.
Yeah,
That's
Oh, yeah,
really what the
that's-
problem is.
there are psychopaths.
That's been the case for ages. The example that I raise as a fucked up person hiding fucked up shit and then getting people to go along with it is, you guys know the case of Dr. Money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of what?
Dr. Money?
Dr. Money. Yeah. One of the most fucked up names that just sounds evil off the back of it.
Hold on, he's not building wells in Africa, is he?
No, Dr. Money was the one who sexually
Give us modern
abused
gender
two
theory.
boys and ended up with a experiment on these two boys that led to a
What?
100%
Eddie
suicide
Money,
rate.
the dickhole that turned around and oh, wasn't he the one where he accidentally fucked up
Nope.
shut up a minute and let me finish.
He didn't fuck up the circumcision.
Okay.
He was
He
the
didn't?
one who was
I was trying to stop that, but
with
okay.
trying to help
Okay.
the person who had suffered from a, well, I say he tried to help. He claimed that he was trying to help someone who suffered from a botched
circumcision. They accidentally cut off his penis as a baby, and
Yep,
his
that's
parents
what-
decided to raise him as a girl.
Well, his parents, under the advice of Dr. Money, decide to raise him as a girl. And then Dr. Money was a routine feature of the two boys' lives because it was twins. One of them had a botch, one of them didn't. And he proceeded to force the two young boys into disgustingly
Simulating
sexual
sex.
situations with each other. As he watched and instructed, he would punish the boy who had the botched circumcision if he didn't act sufficiently girly for Dr. Money. Absolutely horrendous shit.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
Dude,
It
absolutely.
Yep. He
the-
should have been the first person to enter a wood chipper, and we failed.
Yeah.
He is the
100%.
foundational paper that suggested that sex and gender are mutable characteristics and that gender is a social construct. And he's still widely cited in that field, despite, again, his research having a 100% self-checkout rate, shall we say.
Well, the ones that didn't result in the murder of other people.
Well, no, his particular study, because his was a case study just involving the two boys. And both boys offed themselves later.
Yep.
So his study had a 100%
Self-delete.
self-checkout. Which is fucked up as all hell. The fact that people still treat it as if it is some massively important paper within their field. So there's absolutely problems with medical research. There's absolutely fucked up people that are in the process. But the solutions that people offer normally aren't solutions.
Hold on. Sanguine, I mean, you were... You know the code, right? Like, you know, code red, code black, code, all of that
Oh,
stuff.
the hospital code system, you mean?
Yeah. Is there anything that goes with that?
Well, there's my favorite code in the hospital code, which is the funniest one as well. Code strong. I think
Okay.
I've told you guys about code strong before. So, code strong is... You guys know what we're currently talking about, right? When we're talking about hospital codes. So you have code blue, that's the one that most people are familiar with, which is a
usually patient flatline
person that has flatline, so they're no longer getting air, they no longer have blood circulating. Code blue.
Right.
Then another one that not as many people know, but is a common one, is code silver. Code silver means that there's someone who has a gun that shouldn't have a gun.
Oh.
Now imagine when you have to encounter that.
Code strong is the funniest to my mind, because code strong is the code for a physically belligerent patient, so shall we phrase it that way? And every code has a different response. So if you hear code blue, you have people go grab the crash cart, they come over with the crash cart, they start taking the call, right?
Okay.
If you have code silver, it tells everyone, don't let people into the facility. Don't go near the windows.
Lockdown.
Makes sense, right? Yeah, it's a lockdown.
Yeah. There's even a code color for, like, holy shit, tornado! You got to get everybody into.
There's a shit ton of different codes. Each of them has a color or word associated with them. Code strong is physically belligerent patient. And the way that it's responded to is all the largest motherfuckers that work in the hospital report to the location where the code is called.
Yep.
So I was an EMT for a while, and I was standing on a floor getting information from a nurse as I hear another nurse just a little bit away from me activate code strong. It was the first time I had ever heard code strong. I had no clue what it was until I saw guys my size just start flooding the entire ward. And it was like, yeah, some of them were nurses or doctors or orderlies. Okay, that makes sense. Elevator repairmen, janitorial staff, hospital security,
Yeah.
the hospital plumber. It was just literally everyone that was like 6 foot and up and weighed at least 180 pounds. Report to this location.
Sorry.
And the entire point of it is that you have a physically belligerent patient who is threatening to attack hospital staff. You have everyone that's big report to that area. So it's a show of force. Where it's, yeah, you could try to fight one of our nurses. But
Dude,
we
fight
just
the nurses?
gathered 50 of the biggest people in the hospital all into the same area. Do you want to fight all of them? And most people decide no. No, they do not want to fight all of them.
I don't know. I think that's at that point you need to start giving out a ring and saying, hey, waifu type. Oh, wait. Are we
I
still
think
live?
you're thinking of the
Yeah.
wrong
Oh,
type.
shit.
You're thinking of the wrong nurses, Evan.
You're thinking of the wrong type of have a go, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
We aren't talking night shift nurses. We're talking actual hospital nurses.
Yeah, not the one that gives you ice cream. She's the one that,
And thankfully, not the ones
They're
from
not
the video
necessarily
game.
she,
Yeah.
Adam.
Whoa! I don't think you need to add that into it.
You've
Hold
never
on.
had a male nurse?
Yeah. Well, actually, no.
Oh
I've
my!
never. Oh no, the only male nurse I've had is preacher. He came in. He's like, "Hey, let me tell you about Jesus Christ." And I'm like, "Hey."
That's not a nurse. That's
Well, yeah, that's why I told him to get
chaplain.
the fuck out of there. I'm like, "Yo."
That's a hospital chaplain, not a nurse.
Yeah, I don't.
The strange thing was he waited until after checking his prostate in order to start telling him about Jesus.
Well, you have to make sure.
Also, when the nurse came in a few moments later, she had no clue who he was talking about.
Oh yeah, and then the janitor came by, and then he was like, I was like, "Wait, what's going on?"
Wait, it's you!
That's just it, brother. By the time the mobilization is happening, the lockdown has begun. You're stuck there.
That's true.
Yeah, it's one of those things that hospital codes, they're interesting to know, but unless you work there, you don't really need to know the code. All you'll be told is if it's like a code silver and you're about to leave the hospital, they'll go, wait in here for a little bit. And if you ask, they might go, well, for your safety, wait in here for a little bit. We're dealing with an incident outside.
I'm trying to imagine the code they have for we don't want to admit it's haunted, but it's haunted.
Wait,
You know,
what?
for
I don't think
okay,
they
get
have
the
a
fuck out of
code
here.
for that.
There, yeah.
Code
That's
Ecto.
called. They call a code for this lady's crazy and thinks this is haunted.
Okay, you know what? She's
That-
fucking with us. Get the fuck
Or
That's what the code
come
is
on,
for that.
there's definitely certain sections of a hospital where you process more dead people, and you're like, okay,
which would
I
be
get.
better, Code
And-
Ecto
Yeah,
or
but
Code
you don't have
Slimer?
a lined code.
What was that, Sanguine?
Code Ecto or Code Slimer? Which one would be better?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
prefer Code Ecto because maybe it's not on me.
Because
Here's
it
your
doesn't sound like
mucus,
someone's just
Egon.
been violated.
Yeah, that helps too. I'm gonna
Alright,
be right
Jen.
back.
See, this is again. Do we need Alberta?
What? You're afraid of ghost stories or something, man? Like, come
Alberta
on,
would
come
give us a
on.
51st state.
And it would look like a middle finger to the rest of the world.
I ain't afraid of no ghost. I ain't afraid of no ghost. First off, and yeah, I'll.
I mean, I don't know that I believe in ghosts either. I just know there's certain rooms in certain places that are creepy as fuck. And like, yes, there's probably the people died here factor where you're like, yeah, that's
And
That's a
all
little
I'm
messed up.
saying is we haven't manifested the destiny quite hard enough. Let's get a 51st state out of it.
I don't know, man. We tried invading Canada. In
yeah, you
18
tried invading Ontario.
Yeah, it didn't work out too. Sorry, forgot there was a mic there. No, we tried invading Canada at that one point, but I don't think it's worth it.
Well, if you invaded up there, your guys probably came up here and like, God, there's an awful lot of French up here, just based off the signage, and they were like, fuck this noise.
We had enough French.
Yeah.
We had the one good French. We had Lafayette.
Yeah, I used to live on a Lafayette Street.
We didn't need any of the inferior French. We had the good one.
It's also
Jesse Maman.
Also, Quebec back then was a different breed. Like, they're still kind of nuts now, but back then, I wouldn't have fucked with them really.
Come on, Jen. You know that was the French shine. It
Wait,
was.
they're a different breed? I thought they haven't left their gene pool in ages.
No, I mean, like, in terms of their temperament and how fucking around when you want to know where some of those Canadian war crimes came from. Wasn't, I'm not saying it was just Quebec, but like some of those guys, when you fuck around, you will find out. Like, are they like that now? No. Most of us aren't. But back then, I don't know that I would have really.
What?
Because
no,
some of them were psycho. I'm just saying, some of them, yeah, I wouldn't have fucked with them.
Look. Right now, I have on my gauntlet of gem. I have a German.
Mm-hmm.
I
have an English. And I have an English. I have a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Australian. And I will complete these gems. And I'll get all of them on one stream.
I don't think you're gonna get everybody on one stream, but
damn it, Angela, what are you gonna?
I think you will get them on your channel.
I mean, one at a time.
I don't
or some...
think. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're gonna get them all on your stream at the same time.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but for things that I give credit back to Quebec, and yeah, I'll make fun of them again, like in 5 minutes. When it comes to like wartime era Quebec, I always think about the one guy who took out a full German town by himself.
What?
Look it up. He took them all out by himself. He was like, okay.
Okay, a time period at least to focus.
All right, let me get the exact one because it's a pretty messed up story.
We actually have a couple of those too, Adam.
What?
American soldiers during World War II who took out like an entire city, or at least an entire strategic point by themselves.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably better. I just don't want to support CBC because they suck.
Yeah,
they're all
don't get me
69%.
wrong.
Like they're all 69% government owned. I just they're the worst. All right, I'm gonna post the article link for you, Adam. You can read that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey. It's actually a pretty good story though. Like if you want to, if you're into war stories, I don't know that you necessarily are, but like anyone else who is, it's a pretty good one as far as like people who are into World War II stories. A lot of them are really amazing. Like I'm not taking from your side either. Like I don't doubt that you had soldiers who did stuff too, but it's why I don't compare us to that era because they were different people.
I just figured out why everyone was interrupting me so frequently. I had my mic off.
Ooh.
I was going to say, we weren't interrupting you. We did not hear you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So, we had a lot of really good stories like that from the U.S. as well. Like one of the main units that ended up completely just smashing the momentum of the Battle of the Bulge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that they were all failed. That they were a failed unit that had to live in shame after the war because it was their very first deployment. It was their very first actual battle.
Hold on, was that the one where they got a letter where they said, "Hey, surrender," and the response was nuts?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's a different one. But
yeah, that might have been different.
It was their first. They had all been hand selected as, I want to say, paratroopers.
Yes.
They trained up ridiculously. They had been sent to help shore up this one town. So they got there. There were already some defensive things set up, but it was from a different unit that was still there in the town. So they started helping shore up the defenses a bit more. That other unit got pulled out of the town, but they didn't have any orders. So they went, okay, last thing we were told to do was defend this town and shore up its defenses. So they just kept on doing that. Then, in the middle of the night, they started hearing weird noises. They ended up engaging the weird noises. It was a German unit. They took out that German unit. Next night, more noises. They engage another German unit. They take out that German unit. Next night, their position starts getting shelled. They survive. Massive fucking German offensive starts rolling through. They engage and hold up the German offensive for several days. Eventually, they're at a point where all of their big guns have been taken out. They ran out of anti-armor weapons. More armor was rolling in. Bunch of infantry were rolling in. They couldn't handle it, so they were eventually had to surrender. They surrendered, taken prisoner, taken to one of the prisoners of war camps. Spent the rest of the war in the prisoner of war camp before they were liberated during the invasion of Germany. And there's no documentation other than the German records and their own records saying that they had done any of this. Other than the intel said that there was a battle in this one town that ended up completely blunting the German counteroffensive. But there was no record of who was involved in this battle other than on the German side, and there were a lot of records of who was dead on the German side. One of the guys from the unit was watching the History Channel as they were talking about the battle, talking about how important it was to the way that the war went, how whoever the fuck was there and fought the battle had damn near changed the course of the war entirely. Called up his company commander. Went, you remember when we were taken prisoner? Yes. It was in this town, right? Yes. It was this time of year, right? Yes. We actually did something really fucking important. And that was how they found out that they had actually accomplished something ridiculous.
Wow.
It was them, one guy listening to the History Channel at the right time, and then they were able to get awards for what they did. But
back when the History Channel actually covered the history?
Yep. But up until that point, literally, damn near everyone in that unit thought that they had been the greatest failure of the army up to that point, because they were all handpicked badasses. They were meant to go out, do ridiculous shit, and then the very first battle that they're in, they get captured. Turns out, the badasses handpicked for this ridiculous unit did absolutely ridiculous shit in their one battle, changing the course of the war before then having to surrender. Really cool story. I think the Fat Electrician did a story on it.
I know that the Fat Electrician did a story similar to that.
I know that he did the story on the Nasties. I know that he did a story on a bunch of the other absolutely insane groups. I think he did one on this one. I just can't remember which one it was. But I vaguely remember it being something like the unit that found out they were heroes or some shit like that.
Wow.
Because literally, it was decades after the war.
I just can't imagine how awesome it would be to find out third hand that you're that badass.
Mm-hmm. Especially when at that point you're kind of living in shame, not talking about your military history because you feel like you just fucked up and didn't really do anything because you spent a chunk of the war as a prisoner of war after your very first battle, and then you find out, oh yeah, you're the reason why people aren't speaking German. Big fucking change of view there.
Right.
But it is that time, I see.
Yeah, we're winding down a little. Or at least I am. Getting a little sleepy.
So shall we go around the horn for parting words?
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
Sure. Check out the Fat Electrician. He's pretty badass.
Always good videos.
Yeah, that's his timing.
And have a good night.
Yee.
There you go. Those are my parting words.
Yeah, hey, shit. It's been a nice evening at the zoo.
Mhm.
God bless y'all.
Copy that. Jen?
Well, I will be probably in and around, chats and stuff, and probably monkey streaming too. So I'll probably hop over there and be like, "What are you doing, old man?" Yeah, that's it. Hope everyone's yeah. Well, I hope everyone's set for a good weekend.
Hope so.
Yeah.
And Tier, you back?
Are your dishes clean? Nope.
Dude,
They are gonna be bone white by tomorrow.
fucking ice, dude. They ruined it for him.
Who's going to clean your dishes? When
Yeah.
By the way, just because that just reminded me of something. Anyone else really pissed off at the fact that they're trying to resurrect both King Cotton and the fucking MotZ?
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Okay.
Dude.
What?
I don't know.
So, King Cotton is an argument that was created in the run-up to the Civil War and during the Civil War. It was the argument of, if we get rid of slaves, who's going to pick our crops? It'll cripple the U.S. economy. It'll be bad. You can't do it unless you want to just destroy the United States. So it was an argument saying that slavery was important for the U.S. economy. They've resurrected that by now, when people are talking about immigration, there's a shit ton of people that are constantly coming out of the woodwork saying, if we get rid of illegal immigrants, who's going to pick our crops? Quite literally, same fucking thing there. Who's going to clean our homes? Who's going to clean our toilets? It's the same fucking argument. All they're doing is they're saying it's about illegal immigrants rather than slaves.
Mm-hmm.
The MotZ, also a argument in favor of slavery from the Civil War, went as follows. Every society has a MotZ. What they mean by MotZ is they have low-class jobs that are functionally not compensated. Because either the compensation is so low that it doesn't really count as compensation, or they are slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument was that the South, which had slaves in great abundance, was really just being more honest about the servitude of its lowest class, the slaves, than the North was, because the North would also have people do back-breaking labor and would have people do these jobs that no one really wanted to do. But In the North, that would just be paid a paltry sum, and the factory owners didn't have any responsibility to make sure that their factory workers were fed or to make sure that they had a good home. So they'd just be paid a paltry sum, and they're treated even worse than slaves, according to the MotZ argument.
Hold on, are you saying that I'm not allowed to have a 3 taco meal unless I sling some mud?
No, the MotZ argument equated low skill work, minimum wage to slavery. This is an argument that is still constantly being used now, unfortunately, as people are constantly saying that low skill work and its minimum wage pay
Hold on, dude. I think
are
weren't you
comparable
closing the
to
shop?
slavery. This just was something that I was reminded of.
That
So
caught his attention.
I don't want to
it drove me crazy.
I'm sorry, dude. I don't want to contribute to drawing out the bit.
So yeah, just drives me crazy. The MotZ argument, absolutely infuriating. That is also making a comeback, unfortunately, as people keep on saying that minimum wage workers, well, it's just modern day slavery.
We're all wage slaves, man.
Yep, wage slaves. That's the MotZ argument. It's infuriating. But now that I've gotten that off my chest and ranted about that a little bit, I'll leave off with, if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night all. The zoo is closed.
Good night, everybody. Bye, Tier.
Good night.
And now I click this, but it takes a second, so suck it!